Businesses across all sectors are facing innumerable challenges, and real estate is no different. The extension of the lockdown to contain the spread in Ghana left the industry with no option but to be ready with the only viable contagion plan. People are spending more time on e-commerce on social media platforms than they ever did. Today on Biztrends, I'm having a conversation with the president of Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, Mr. Patrick Ebo Bonful, to better understand whether or not the COVID caught them off guard and what is the way forward. My name is Enyonam. This is Biztrends. Share your thought with us on all our social media platforms. You are a potential property owner. What do you make of the industry so far? Do you feel their pain? How do we take it from here moving forward as a Ghanaian, as an industry person or a would-be buyer of a real estate property? This show is proudly brought to you by NPRA Data Bank, Leap Tomato Paste, J&G Insurance Brokers. I'm going for this quick breather. I'll be right back. Stay with me.
Tomato paste when I would eat, I don't want to leave tomato paste in Ghana. Ah!
Aha! This is what I call a journey.
Secret nane LEAP, leap. Someone named leap tomato paste there. It was superb and palatable taste. Na esu biaso. There were large and small sizes for chop bars, restaurants, and enfie.
For bulk purchase, contact 033-2095-314 or 050-141085.
Welcome back from that quick break. It's still BizTrendsShow. My name is Enyonam, and my guest is Mr. Patrick Ebo Bonful, President for Greater. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
Yes, thank
This is COVID greeting, eh?
Yes, yes.
We should be shaking hands by now.
Yes.
So how have you been faring to start off?
Well, we've been doing what we are best at as entrepreneurs. When the situation changes, we change our modus operandi. And for most, I can say that most of our members have laid off workers. And they've cut down on activity, construction activity, operating below 30%.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've laid off more than 70% of active workforce. Yeah.
People say demand for houses and mortgages has collapsed, and it's due to the fact that it is highly priced. Do you share in this thought?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because the cost of construction is always high. The cost of building materials that we use, 70% of all those building materials are imported materials, and so they suffer the effects of exchange rate, differentials, increases and all. And we pass that cost on, unfortunately, to the customer. But to actually cost of acquiring land and bringing in the services, utility services even to the land, they are significantly higher. And for a real estate developer as well, you go through other governmental, approvals. For instance, you make sure you have building permit, make sure your layout is approved by government agencies. You make sure that you develop the access roads and everything based on what has been approved for you, and so on and so forth. All those things come at a cost because you engage a lot of experts to achieve that, and all that adds to the cost of the buildings that we put up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In your quest to establish or create affordable housing for both low income and high income Ghanaians, how come the government is not giving tax rebate to this 70% of building materials you import through the port?
Yes, that's a big question. We've been dialoguing and over the years, not now, to try and get government to agree with us to give us rebates on those building materials so that we can also pass on the reduced cost to customers. There were certain moves by the Ministry of Works and Housing where they tried to define what affordable housing is, and and that if you can operate within that cost bracket, then you qualify for certain tax breaks, some of which include the rebate on taxes on imported materials and so on and so forth. But that has been on the fringes, But on the larger scale, we are yet to really receive any such, I know the current minister is doing something about that, but it's not yet, concluded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Do you see an increase in business failures, especially in an area of the economy that was already suffering from weakened demand prior to the viral outbreak?
Yes, for sure. I mean, the challenge was there before all of this. The challenge was basically due to the fact that people could not access mortgages, realistic mortgages to be able to patronize our homes.
Okay.
And so the situation wasn't the best. As I said in my intro, currently the situation is dire, and a lot of businesses in this industry have gone down, and a lot of them are also operating below 30%. Just to be able to make sure you stay in business, until times get better, and then we all begin to roll out again, so that's what's happening.
Right. Ghana, or let me say the construction real estate industry, contributes almost 14% to Ghana's GDP, and an average company, direct, indirect, employs about 100 people. Is it obvious that some companies are going to go down as a result of this outbreak? And if that is the case, how do you feel about all the help and support that government is giving to other sectors? We haven't heard about real estate yet. How do you feel about that as a president for Greater?
Well, we are not happy about it, and we have made calls, and we are still making calls to the relevant, authorities to engage Greater at the round table for us to look at ways that we can work on this. I hope that in the coming weeks we'll be granted the opportunity for us to sit at the table. We have very fantastic proposals. We are entrepreneurs at best, and this is what we do. Okay, so the ideas that we have, we may not need stimulus in the same way that stimulus is being given to other sectors. Okay, what we are asking for, we want a review of some of the laws, an introduction of new policies to create the environment that we can thrive. In the long run, it will look like a stimulus, you understand? Because this sector, like in the advanced country, this sector is the backbone of their economy. They know what they derive from it. That's why, they have money, so they will throw in a lot of funds. But in our case, I think that with the right policies, the right, laws, we should be able to do just as well,
Okay, so you're still hoping for government to, sit around the table with you?
You can never give up hope.
Okay.
You can never give up.
I see.
We keep knocking.
Right. Okay. How has greater woes increased following the outbreak of the raging novel coronavirus pandemic? In
summary, I will tell you, the answer for that one is that most construction sites have dried up. They are not doing nothing. You go there, nothing is really happening because you have stocks of houses sitting on the market that hasn't been sold. Why would you continue building anyway? And the situation as of now also, even previously we were just trying our best to move on. But now, the uncertainty that has come about as a result of the pandemic has already created a situation where people are suspending, such huge investments. They are suspending it for now, and so on and so forth. So for us, it's a serious matter. It's a dire one for the industry.
It's a serious matter, says the president of GHbusiness, Mr. Patrick Ebo Bonful. It's still Biztrends TV show. My name is Enyonam, and today, it will be unfair to talk about all the sectors and not talk about real estate. I'm going for a quick break. I'll be right back after this.
When you've worked hard for your money, you want to make sure you're investing it with the right company. And when you need your money, it will be there for you. As Ghana's leading investment bank, Data Bank has been helping Ghanaians achieve financial independence since 1990. At Data Bank, you can purchase mutual funds, treasury bills, or shares. We're one of Ghana's leading pension and provident fund managers.
Backed by our world-class research team, Data Bank has a proven track record of strong performance and good corporate governance. Knowing where to invest is key. Invest wisely, invest with Data Bank.
Welcome back from that quick commercial break. My name is Enyonam. This is BizTrendsShow. This show is proudly brought to you by NPRA, National Pensions Regulatory Authority. If you're an employee or an employer, remember that it is mandatory to pay for the contributions of your employees, including yourself. And of course, Data Bank is urging everyone, whether you're in tertiary, you're working for yourself or working for somebody, it's always good to be contributing towards a project you want to do, whatever it is you want to do. Go to Data Bank, let them give you the good advice when it comes to investment. And of course, Leap tomato paste. If you're cooking in your home, the best tomato paste I recommend for you to go for is Leap. J&G Insurance Brokers and Consultancy Firm is urging you that yes, insurance is very good, but don't just walk into any insurance company to take a policy. Contact J&G Insurance Brokers, Dr. Gideon Amanyedo, to give you the advice on which policy best work for you. If you're a business person, you need someone to consult for your business, of course, J&G is also there for you. Moving on, a lot of people, or it is alleged, I have read in some of your presentations that most Ghanaians prefer to build than buy. Now, I had a first experience from a brother-in-law who told me, and I bought this property not too long ago, but it keeps wearing off, and I don't know why. And the room size, when you go to the bedroom, him and the wife, it's very small, and that of the kids, the hall and everything. Why is it like that?
All right. Okay. So the first part of your question, the room sizes. Usually, developers have types of houses. Each house type has the room sizes. We can have the same 3 bedrooms. We can have the affordable one, and we can have the luxury type. The affordable one will have smaller rooms, obviously, but the luxury one will have bigger rooms. So I'm sure your cousin was definitely aware of the room sizes. Okay. So that is that. In terms of the wearing off, I want to know I don't know the warranty that was granted him. Usually, in our industry, we grant 6 months warranty after handing over the property. Worst case scenario, I only know of very, very, very few have granted 12 months warranty. Now, when that warranty expires, it is up to you to maintain your property.
Okay.
So maybe you should seek, advice from people in the experts in the
industry. Do you make that clear to the client that after this period?
After warranty.
Yes.
Yes, you usually give them handing over note.
Okay.
And in the handing over note, all these things are specified. Yeah.
It's very common the encounter that property owners, being it a real estate company or even the one who bought the property from a real estate company, this land guards issue, chieftaincy dispute. Where are we with, having an understanding with regards to that?
Okay, I think that for this, I would say that the law that was recently passed on vigilantism and all takes care of the land guards, which we are very grateful to government for. The other aspect is that is the implementation of it. There are still challenges in that area. What has brought about all of this is the fact that people don't have titles to their lands. Okay, what we call
people, as in the chiefs,
the owners of the allodial owners. Let me put it that way. The allodial owners don't have clear, indefeasible titles to their properties. And it may interest you to know that in that proposal I'm talking about, with comprehensive proposal we sent to government, we have hinted on all of that. We've given specific details and have even gone on to propose very innovative ways where this can be resolved, where the government will end up rather being on top without spending much. What have we said? We have said that government should take land from these allodial owners. Okay. They don't have money to pay for the stamp duties, for the surveyors and everything, the registration and everything. So if, let's say, an allodial owner, a chief or a family owns, let's say, 20,000 acres of land, we are suggesting to government, humbly, they should go sit with them and say, all right, we'll give you title to that land. After going through the normal process, we will bear, as government, we'll take care of the cost. When that is done, we will take, let's say, 10% of your land in lieu of the fees and other charges and everything that has to be done to be able to get you your land title certificate. And then when government has that 10% or 20%, depending on whatever they negotiate, let's say that's about 2,000 acres. Immediately government has land bank of 2,000 acres. When government has done that, immediately also the allodial owner has indefeasible title over 18,000. Okay. Now, we developers will definitely prefer to go to government and buy from government. Government can sell it to us even at the minimal, okay? And if you compare what we were even alluding in our proposal, government can make up to 500% in revenue, immediate revenue. You understand? Increase in revenue, 500%. Why won't you do that?
Okay.
And in the aftermath, you would have solved the issue of land litigation, because there will be no quarrels about titles.
Okay.
Clear titles are set out. All right. There's no need for anybody to engage in.
So where have you got into with regards to this proposal?
It's all with the government, but I know that now they are busy with the
Why is it that every time you put something forward, do you follow up, or you just put this document forward and then you sit back and wait?
I can assure you, just 2 weeks ago, we wrote a follow-up letter requesting to be called for us to sit down and have a conversation around it. We submitted this proposal way back in November.
Right.
All right, and so we did this 2 weeks ago. We wrote to the Chief of Staff, Honorable Freeman.
Right.
And so we are hoping and still hoping that, I am not a confrontational type, so you will never get me to confront government.
Right.
I see government as a father. And so the kind of respect you give to your father, there are other ways you can put pressure on your father to get what you want.
So we are still hoping there comes a time land guard and chieftaincy disputes will be a thing of the past.
Thing of the past.
If
we apply this,
I'll come back to you on that. Yes. I'll come and chase you for that.
Definitely.
Right. Would you say the COVID-19 outbreak has caught the realty sector off guard with diminishing transactions and near zero site visit? I mean, are people still visiting site during this COVID era?
Well, after the lockdown, yes, people are beginning to show interest. Prospects, I would say, they are still visiting sites. And to answer your first question, this COVID took everybody by surprise.
Okay.
I would be surprised if anybody can tell me it didn't take them by surprise. In all industries, every sector has been surprised, you know. But then, that is why we are here, you know, as human beings.
Right.
You know, so we have to overcome the situation. People are beginning to open up a bit, you know, and I'm sure within the shortest possible time, you know, like I said, they have to be very hopeful that things will get better. Yeah.
What are some innovative ways that you've suggested to your members to adapt, you know, in managing their business in this time?
At this time, we are relying more on social media.
Okay.
Okay. For instance, if somebody wants to visit your site, and for reasons of social distancing and all, you know, what you do is you send them a live, you know, either a live video, or you send them what's called a link on Google Map, so they can go on Google Earth and view the estate or the house, or you can even do, like I said, a short video showing them the internal of the property and so on and so forth. So we are doing more of social media advertising and marketing and sales, you know, at this point, to be able to reach out to as many, you know, because also you can't afford to be advertising the traditional way of advertising, because it will be expensive. Are
we going to see a likelihood of the staff who has been laid off call back to work?
You know, in this industry, you train people to be able to function the way you want them to function. It only makes very good economic sense to, you know, recruit the people that you already trained, and then you lay them off because of this situation. It's in the best interest of the industry to do that. Yeah,
it's in the best interest of the industry. We are going for investment test bit brought to you by Data Bank. Take a look at that. I'll be right back to wrap up the conversation. Stay with me.
In my view, the COVID-19 pandemic is a relatively short-term pandemic. Just like in China and in South Korea, life is beginning to return to normal after 3 months. Just yesterday, the travel ban on Wuhan was lifted, which is a strong indication that things are likely to return to normal in a maximum of 90 days. So, in my view, this is not the time to stop investing. I can understand that in times like this, you may need to stop investing or reduce the amount of money you invest because you have other bills to pay. I can also understand that you are likely to dip into your investments to meet current expenditure. However, for 3 months, you still have bills to pay, you still have school fees to pay, you still have projects to continue. So I will strongly advise that no matter how small you have left to invest, it's important that you do not stop, or if you haven't started, actually, this is the time to start investing. Thank you.
So welcome back from that investment test bit brought to you by Data Bank. Many thanks to my other sponsors, NPRA and Leap Tomato Paste, J&G Insurance Brokers. We are still discussing the real estate industry during the COVID-19 outbreak and the way forward. Greater as of February was pushing for 12%, 12% or less mortgage. Any update with that?
Yes.
What have you gotten to?
Yes, I think government launched it, actually, a pilot program where the Minister of Finance released 40 million, 10 million, 40 million to 4 banks, 10 million each, and asked the banks to also match it and give out mortgages at rates not above 12%. Indeed, some of the banks, I don't want to advertise for anyone.
Right.
Some of the banks were giving even up to 11% on the CD. You know, on the CD. So I would say that particular one was achieved. You know, thankfully, it's in the pilot phase. So and it's limited to only civil servants at this point.
Right.
I mean, I disagree.
That's not good.
I disagree.
That's not good, yes.
I think they should be extended to all Ghanaians.
Right.
Because we are all taxpayers. And so, you know, and like I think I was saying earlier on that most of the civil servants, because of the level of their salaries, are not able to qualify for the houses that are being offered under that scheme.
Right.
And so I think it's about time. The pilot phase has traveled for a while. In my humble opinion, we should open it up for the you know, all Ghanaian workers.
Okay. To have access to that.
To have access to
right.
that, yeah.
In my quest, or when I was reading, I realized that you have up to 15 years to pay for mortgage if you access it to buy a property. Don't you think that is a little bit short for an average Ghanaian?
It is short, but like they always say, depending on your age, the age of the applicant.
Okay.
But assuming for the sake of this conversation that this is a young person of about 25 years, I think, in my opinion, they should be able to grant that person about 25 years or 30 years mortgage, in which case the monthly payment will come down.
Okay.
And the likelihood of default will be almost zero in that case. So we should be able to make it possible for it to be very difficult for the person to default. You understand? And to be able to do that, we cannot use conventional borrowing. We cannot use the conventional systems that we know. You know, there are other ways, you know. And like I said, I think that Honorable Attorney was proposing something where we can use the third tier and all the other things as part of the person's initial deposit, you know, for a mortgage. Indeed, I will add to that, like I said, that they should be able to access real long-term funds outside of the system, you know, outside, even if it's external.
Right.
Yeah.
As well, in Europe and South Africa, I know the real estate industry is doing extremely well, and it's easy to have access to that. What has been the challenge for real estate organizations or industry in Ghana? What should the sector look forward for after COVID-19? After
COVID-19, we are looking forward to the review of the mortgage law. The Act 770/2008. We want it reviewed immediately. We have, in our proposals, submitted detailed, additions and subtractions. We have said that we wanted the current law decoupled from the Mortgages Decree 1972, from the Borrowers and Lenders Act, and we want a standalone mortgage law, which will, for all purposes and intents, be able to service or provide the legal framework for the industry, so that if you access a mortgage, everything is spelled out very clear in black and white, no ambiguity, what has to be done. Okay, we have also suggested, first, if people go to the current law, when people default and the banks go after them, they want the properties. Sometimes they spend 7 years in court, 12 years in court.
Dragging the issue.
Exactly.
Right.
So next time, do you think the bank will want to roll out mortgages?
No.
They won't tell government because they think they want to show respect to government. But when you go privately to them, they will tell you.
It seems to you people, you only talk, but you're not making action. You know, government would always say, okay, we have received your document, we'll look into it. But until you do something drastic, they don't really act. Isn't it about time you guys do something like that?
I think that drastic is what we have done. And we are seeking the conversation to happen.
Okay.
And through media outlets like yourselves, we are, telling it. We are saying and we are asking.
Right.
And I'm sure sooner than later you'll be posing those questions to government. That is the way I see it. As I think that is enough. We can put even more pressure.
Okay.
Granting more interviews and talking about it.
All right.
Somebody will ask somebody, will knock at somebody's door and ask, why don't you talk to these guys? So what we are asking for is good for all of us.
Okay.
Yeah, and it will help the industry.
I must say I really appreciate your time and thanks for joining us on BizTrends today. By your final message before we wrap up the conversation to viewers who are watching you.
Viewers who are watching us, my advice to you is that real estate investments hardly suffer. You may suffer a bit when you invest in real estate. So don't give up on your plans to buy houses or to buy lands and so on and so forth. Continue to invest in that. and it will pay off for you in no time. It's the quickest way out of poverty.
Right, quickest way out of poverty. That is debatable. We'll talk about that some other time. My name is Enyonam. This is Biztrends. Thank you so much for making time with me. My guest today, Mr. Patrick Ebo Bonful. Am I correct? Bonful. He is the president for Grader. Thanks for making time with me. I'll come your way again next weekend. Stay blessed and take care of yourself. Take all the safety precautions so I can see you again next week when I come back. Until now, it's a bye.